He showed you exactly how he felt about our fellow Americans in Puerto Rico in the aftermath of Hurricane Maria. So who's really surprised that this happened at his most recent rally? If you weren't already convinced, Trump's rhetoric makes it clear. Puerto Ricans, many others, are not included in his vision for America.
But there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay, all right. It's a cool black guy with a thing on his head. What the hell is that, a lampshade? Look at this guy. That's one of my buddies. He had a Halloween party last night. We had fun. We carved watermelons together. It was awesome. I welcome migrants to the United States of America with open arms. And by open arms, I mean like this.
The entire country heard these pathetic excuses for jokes loud and clear, and so did the rest of the world. Tony Hinchcliffe was just one of many at Trump's Madison Square Garden rally who put racism front and center as Trump's closing argument to the American people. And unsurprisingly, Hinchcliffe's comments are now being defended by the same MAGA crowd, showing us exactly where their loyalty lies.
It was a comedian who made a joke in poor taste. Obviously, that joke does not reflect the views of President Trump or our campaign. And I think it is sad that the media will pick up on one joke that was made by a comedian rather than the truths that were shared by the phenomenal list of speakers that we had. And the crowd, they didn't mind, right? Again, it was a diverse group of people. The joke fell flat.
A comedian with a successful podcast said some off
but maybe this was not the appropriate format for the comedian to be there, but it's comedy.
They're too busy trying to fearmonger everything except it's instead of actually talking about the facts and the substance. It was a great rally last night. I didn't agree with the comedian said. None of us did. When it came out, we were all like,
distanced himself.
Yeah, of course. We were all like, wait, what? Who? Did that get up? No. Nobody agreed with that. Nobody.
But it was
period. Full
people
stop.
say I saw.
But he's also a comedian. We didn't control what he said. Social media is going to do that because the Harris campaign is pushing that because they're looking for something to talk about. Because she has nothing to talk about.
If Trump's message is breaking through, that's obviously the right message. And the good news is Puerto Rico doesn't have any electoral votes.
Here's what's really happening. For the Republican Party, this goes beyond a rally moment. It's their last-ditch effort to survive. Defending someone like Hinchcliffe and brushing off his racism as just comedy is a calculated move to keep their most extreme base energized. Why? Because if they don't hold on to this base, they lose. It's that simple. This is a desperate party clinging to systemic racism as a tool, hoping it'll pull them over the finish line. They know it's not about comedy. It's about reinforcing stereotypes, dog whistling to their core supporters, normalizing prejudice under the guise of cancel culture. Why are Rick Scott, Maria Elvira Salazar, Anthony D'Esposito, and Carlos Jimenez suddenly denouncing Hinchcliffe's comments while still waving the Republican banner? It's political survival. They want to distance themselves from that blatant racism while staying within the Republican fold. They know they cannot afford to alienate voters who are just tired of the hate-fueled rhetoric, but they also can't afford to cross the party line entirely. This is a delicate balancing act. They're all trying to master a tightrope walk between distancing themselves from the extremism and keeping one foot in the MAGA base.
The things that they do in Puerto Rico are a testing ground for the policies and the horrors that they wish to, and that they do unveil in working class communities across the United States. And I need people to understand that when you have some a-hole calling Puerto Rico floating garbage, know that that's what they think about you. That's just what they think about you.
The only reason that the rhetoric has gotten this far is precisely because they are trying to prime the kind of froth that led up to the January 6th attack on the Capitol. This is not a comedian. This is the Trump campaign. They invited this rhetoric on their stage for a reason. It was a chorus of speakers on that campaign for a reason. It was vetted, and they knew exactly who was going to say what before they went on. And they're just realizing that they might have made a big error by saying out loud what they're thinking. None of that was an accident. These campaign events are put together. They are vetted. that language was vetted by the Trump campaign, that that person was approved by the Trump campaign, because he is speaking on behalf of the Trump campaign. And I think it's really important that people understand that when we see everything that's happening, what is being transmitted and said about Latinos in the United States is exactly what the Trump campaign means.
AOC's response to this rally fiasco hits the nail on the head. She's not only calling out the racism, but she's putting it in the context of a bigger pattern, a long history of scapegoating communities of color, of course, to distract from real issues. And here's what I think this means for the election. Every time Donald Trump and his allies try to rile up voters with this kind of rhetoric, it might energize a few, but it's also pushing away moderates and undecideds. This strategy might play well with his base, but it's out of touch with a broader America that is tired of this division. So will it impact the election? Absolutely, but not in the way Trump thinks. This is a strategy that's already backfiring, and as more people tune in, they're seeing it for exactly what it is: desperation from a party clinging to its worst instincts.